Welcome to SportsBanter, and today we are talking about the Knicks versus Hawks series here in round 1 of the NBA. As you may be able to know, the series just ended at the time of recording this video. And this, again, similar to the 76ers versus Wizards game, this was also a 4-1 series, meaning that the Hawks won 4 games while the Knicks only won 1 game. And I was kind of surprised by this because I thought that this would be a 7-game series and be one of the most, dramatic series of the first round. However, that was not to be the case. I think what gave us the impression is that game 1 of these playoffs were just so electric. I mean, it was a close game throughout. It was the game that Alec Burks went on a complete hot streak for the Knicks. But also, Trae Young had 32 points and 10 assists in that game, which also, with the game-winning shot where, the iconic video of, Trae Young doing the as he was quieting the Madison Square Garden crowd. And you know that the Hawks were going to be on a roll after that. Game 2 was kind of how the first one ended. Trae Young playing well, and the Knicks were really struggling, but Julius Randle was, Julius Randle kind of found his groove in this game, and so did Derrick Rose. He led the charge for the Knicks, and the Knicks were able to close out the game, so much so that Derrick Rose also started Game 3. And a big part of this series for the Knicks, a big bright spot was Derrick Rose. I mean, Derrick Rose was even put in the starting lineup during these playoffs after his great Game 2 performance, to get the veteran leadership in the starting position. And even though they didn't win a single game, Derrick Rose looked amazing on the Knicks. Julius Randle was a bit of a low point for the Knicks. Besides the game in Game 2, he really was struggling to get a shot up. And I mean, although he found a couple ways, to contribute through rebounds or assists, still, his inconsistent shooting this series definitely contributed to the Knicks only winning 1 game. For the Hawks, I think the big X factor in this series was obviously Trae Young. Trae Young was excellent in all of the games that they won. And, I mean, I love the attitude on Trae Young, especially when Trae Young plays in Madison Square Garden. He is a great, to use a wrestling term, he's a great heel for the crowd to hate. And I think that, if the Knicks have another season like they did this season and the Hawks continue their trajectory, which is a shoo-in playoff team, if these two face each other in the playoffs, this could be an amazing rivalry between these two teams. But, that remains to be seen. The Hawks are moving on in the Eastern Conference. And for the Knicks, you hope that the Knicks kind of look to build around this squad that it was unexpected. We thought it was going to be a rebuild with this Knicks team. But now the Knicks have really snuck into the playoffs, and now you might be thinking about, getting pieces to New York to help this team become more competitive. But that all remains to be seen. And on a day where there are so many elimination games happening, we might be back with another video, depending on how some of these playoff games go. And of course, I'm talking about the Utah Jazz and the Memphis Grizzlies. Right now, the Utah Jazz are dominating the Memphis Grizzlies on NBA TV. So it seems that if things go the way they are, I will be back for a 3rd time today to go over the Utah Jazz Memphis Grizzlies series. But until then, I'll see you in the next one.